Shabbat Shalom to those that are getting settled. David, Tina, next week. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. I am Rabbi Scott Kramer. Thank you for joining me for Kabbalat Shabbat. So glad to be here. I want to send out a challenge to those that used to sit in our sanctuary live for services to consider coming back. We will be online for the duration. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be online, but I would love to see us get our old minyan in the sanctuary back. And we are having onegs again on Friday nights, so for those that would enjoy greeting each other, having a little nosh, maybe a little wine after services, I would love to see all of you back. We are praying out of Sidor Lev Shalem, and we'll begin tonight's service on page 5 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boechem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 11, Psalm 95. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, nekad mafana b'todah. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, nekad mafana b'todah. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Please join me in the English. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song. Great is Adonai, greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands form the earth's deep. Mountain crests, too, are God's work. The sea is God's, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai who formed us. For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands. If only you would listen today to God's voice and not become hard-hearted like the people at Merivah, like the time at Massah in the desert, when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they had seen what I had wrought. For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way, so in anger I swore they would not enter my rest. 40 שנה כות בדור ואומרם טועה לבבהם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי באפי, אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Page 13, Psalm 96. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בשר מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני, ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא. Al ko Elohim lai lai lai, ki ko Elohei ha'amim elilin, v'Adonai shamayim asa, hod v'hadar lefanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, havu l'Adonai mishpachot ha'amim, havu l'Adonai kavod v'oz, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, seu mincha, uvahu l'chadzrod av layla, shtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, chilu mipanav kol haaretz, imrum v'goyim Adonai malach, Aftin kontevel balatimot, yadina min b'meisharim, yismechu hashamayim v'tagil haaretz, ayir amayamu melo, yalo sadai, v'chol asher bo lai, Ajirananu kolat seyar, lifnei Adonai kiva, Kivo lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim b'emunato, yalai lalai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai. We're on page 15. Psalm 97. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice. Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about. Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth. The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory. Worshippers of idols be shamed for praising false gods. All that is deemed supreme bow before God. Zion hears of it and rejoices. The cities of Judah exalt as you, Adonai, pass judgment. You, Adonai, are above all that is earthly, exalted over all that is worshipped as divine. Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful. Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name. Or zaru la tzadik v'lishlev simcha, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kadeshom. Page 17, Psalm 98. המזמור שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, כי נפלאות עשה הושיע לו ימינו, עוזרו הקודשו הודיע אדוני ישועתו, לעין הגויים גילת צדקתו, זכר חסדו ואמונתו לבית ישראל, ראו כל אפסי הארץ את ישועת אלוהינו, הוריעו לאדוני כל הארץ, פצחום ורננו וזמרו, זמרו לאדוני בכינור וכל זמרה, בחצוצרות וכל שופר, הוריעו לפני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושביה, נהרות ימחאו כף, יחד הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיבו, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים במישרים, ילאי, ילאי, ללללאי, ללללאי, ילאי, ללאי, ללללאי, ילאי, ללאי, ללללאי, ללללאי, ילאי, ללאי, ללללאי, לי, 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 ילאי, לי, 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 ילאי, ללאי, ללאי, לי, ילאי, ללאי, ללאי, לי, 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 yai lai 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 lai. Page 19, Psalm 99. Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim makes the world quake. Adonai is great in Zion above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, all-inspiring, Holy One. A sovereign strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacobly, righteously, and justly. Exalt Adonai, our God, bow down before God, the Holy One. Moses and Aaron among God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you, and you answered them. You spoke to them from amidst the cloud. They kept your covenant and the law you gave them. You answered them, Adonai, our God. You were a forgiving God to them, even as you punished them for their transgressions. Exalt Adonai, our God, and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai, our God, is holy. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lahar kadosho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We rise, if you are able, page 21. Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, havu ladonai b'nei Elim, havu ladonai kavod vos, havu ladonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu ladonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el kavod hirim Adonai hamayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et al zehalvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Lebanon v'Sirion kemo vendrehimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachel midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholeo ayalot, Vayechesop nyarot, Uvehechalo kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamabul yashavaye, Shevadonai melech leolam, Adonai oz liamo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amova. Shalom. You may be seated. We're on page 23. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nika b'hila. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nika b'hila. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה לך, דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך, דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבת בימי קבחה, והוא יחמו עלייך חמלה לך, דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, היד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קרבה אל נפשי גאלה לך, דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, התעוררי, התעוררי, קיבה אורי, קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לא תבושי ולא תקמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי בך, יחסו אני ימי ונבנתה עיר, אל תילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, והיו למשיסה שעשייך, ורחקו כל מהבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כי עמך חתן על כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, היד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise as we turn to the last stanza of Lecha Dodi at the bottom, page 25, and we face towards the west to greet the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום מטרת פעלה, גם בשמחה ובצלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. You may be seated. We're on page 27. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני. Page 28. Tzadik tamar yifrach ki erez balvanon yiske shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yeyu lehakid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo havlatabo. Page 29, Psalm 93. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you are enthroned, you are eternal. The rivers rise up, Adonai. The rivers raise up their roar. The rivers raise up their waves. Above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time. Again, Shabbat Shalom to everyone that's with us, both in our sanctuary. We are 5 in our sanctuary. That's great. My challenge is those that are within driving distance. I challenge all of us to come back to the sanctuary. I know Irene is, if you wouldn't want to see that she really is alive, she will be here next Friday night. I challenge David and Tina and Emily to come and join us in our sanctuary, and Elaine and Betty as well. Those, like I said, if you are in driving distance, please join us. We're starting to do onigs again. Maybe I can talk Dickie into doing, what did you do before? Did you do martinis? Yeah. Maybe I can talk him into it. He's thinking about it. He's not committed. But we did that before services, I remember, a long time ago. I'm not sure if that's a great idea to have drinks before services, but it made them a little more fun. David and Tina says, challenge accepted. So, great. And Irene's committed. She's not saying anything, but she's committed too. And we have some nice things that are coming up. Cantor Schwartz will actually be with us Labor Day weekend. I will be at Camp Ramah for Limud. He is going to be here for Friday night and Saturday, and very well received the last 2 weekends he was here when Irene and I were down in Orange Beach. And he will actually be here the following weekend as well, the weekend of September 9th, because we are having a Chinese dinner that is being driven in from Atlanta. And we would love to see a sanctuary full of congregants. Cantor Schwartz will actually be singing during dinner and will join me at services that night. So that's the weekend of September 9th. I hope you can all join us. The children of Israel are on the east side of the Jordan river poised to enter Canaan, the promised land, in this third week of reading from the book of Deuteronomy, the fifth and final book of the Torah. Moses will not enter the land with the Israelites, but will instead be led by Joshua, Moses' understudy. Moses is 120 years old and will die when he finishes speaking. So he speaks for over 30 days. The book of Deuteronomy is a recording of Moses' many speeches, pretty good for a man with speaking issues. I can relate. In Ekev, which is the name of this Torah portion, Moses is teaching the Israelites how they should behave after his death. Moses is concerned that the Israelites will fail to follow God's words, and even predicts that at some point they will begin worshiping idols and fall away from Judaism, and the land of Israel will be taken away from them. He quickly adds that the land will be destroyed. He quickly adds that the land will be restored to them once they return to the worship of God alone. Moses gives sermon after sermon explaining God's laws, giving them consequences of bad behavior, and then finally offers hope after all is lost of what the consequences will be for good behavior. That is why we study the Torah word by word, to exact what God wants us to do and how to behave in this sometimes cruel and unfair world. We as Jews need to rise above the moral line and act more nobly, more ethically, with merciful justice and abundant loving kindness toward our fellow human beings that share this world with us. The portion begins in Deuteronomy 7:12. V'haya ekev tishma'un. It shall come to pass if you hearken, if you listen. In Torah Gems by Aaron Yaakov Greenberg, he says, when the author of Tzemach Tzedek, a Hasidic text from the 1800s, was still a very young child and had just begun to study the Torah with his Malamed, his teacher, he was tested by his grandfather, the author of the Tanya, a book of Hasidic philosophy. His grandfather asked him, what is the meaning of the verse? Because Abraham listened to my voice. Because in Hebrew, this too is the word ekev, like in our portion. The child answered, Abraham listened to God's commands even with his heel, which is what the word ekev has a secondary meaning. His grandfather was delighted with the explanation and said, that is what the Torah means when it tells us, it shall come to pass, if you hearken. Even your heel must obey, must listen to God's commandments and obey them. With every step, one must contemplate where God wants him or her to place their very next step. We all have free choice to take that next step wherever we would like, whether either in the right direction or in the wrong direction. God offers us a choice and encourages us lovingly, not coercively, to take the right next step. We come to Shul or we're online as a choice. God is offering you a better choice of being with community and praying as a community. It would seem that most don't feel the need for Jewish community. Can you remember the last time you were in shul and promised to come more often, or online, and promised to come more often because the feeling you had was positive, only to quickly forget that commitment when you left the building or turned your iPad or computer off? Even your heel must listen to God's commandments and obey them. With every step out of shul, you should contemplate making that commitment stick. With every step, you should think about the good feeling you would have being here for the yard site, the anniversary of death for another person. How would you feel if there was no minyan for your yard site, whether online or in person? Most of us in smaller congregations where minyans are no longer guaranteed, especially in this time of pandemic. But I have to admit, we have 5 in our sanctuary, and right now we have over 21 connections online. And most of those are not in Alabama, and we have at least 2 people that are international, as I can see. So it is crucial for everyone who is able to support your shul. Only your action will change that. By your, I mean y'all. No one is exempt. In the 1980s, in a small shul in Salt Lake City called Congregation Kolami, the rabbi came to a board meeting, closed the door, passed out index cards to everyone in attendance. The rabbi said, "No one leaves until you have made a commitment to attend one of our services on a weekly basis." Sam Shapiro, an old member of the congregation, also happens to have been born in and lived in the same house that Irene's family lived in. They apparently sold the house from the Shapiros to the Elizondos. Sam Shapiro promised to come to the Thursday morning minyan from that week until he passed away 40 years later. He heeded the message in this week's Torah portion. He hearkened to God's request, and his heel led him in the correct direction, and God smiled at him for that correct decision. With your next step, where will your heel take you? What commitment are you willing to make today to ensure that Judaism perpetuates in our shul? Shabbat shalom. Okay. There it is. Sorry. We will continue our service on page 39A. Please rise if you are able for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'Avraham. U'mahavir yom u'mevi laila, mavdil ben yom u'vein laila, Adonai tzavot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu olam va'ed, Baruch et Adonai hamari v'arabim. Page 40. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amchavta, Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta, al kein Adonai Eloheinu בשכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ויעבדך תשים ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך וקומך, וקשרתם נאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, ויעים שמוע תשמעו. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת. והיה לכם לציצית, הוריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם. ולא תטור אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem, page 43a. Vemo Kozov Kayam. Page 44, sorry. Umachuta b'ratzon kibalehem, Moshe v'nei Yisrael neshira, בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך פועלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדור בקודש, נהורה תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ובניך בוקיים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלות בין תחזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. page 45. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו. שלום. ושמוצאתנו ואין לחיים ושלומתה ויד עולם, ופעוש לנו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפוחד סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. We rise if you are able, page 46. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית olam. We continue with the silent Amidah for Friday night, pages 47 through 52. Shalom Rav al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech Adon lechol Shalom. Ki ata melech Adon Lecho Shalom, Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'to be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael B'cho ed u'b'cho sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We rise as the ark is open, page 56, for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gdula liotzer bereshit shalo asan kagoye haratzot v'lo samanu kamishmachot adama shalo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lefnei melech malchei hamlachim Akadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yosed Haaretz U'Moshev Yikaro B'Shamayim Imao U'Shchinatu Zo Begavei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Einod Emet Malkeinu Evazulato Kakatu B'Torato V'yadat hayom v'ashivota elavavecha ki Adonai Elohim b'shamayim mimal v'yal haaretz mitachat einod ahoken nikavlakad Eloheinu li v'mehibetivazacha. Kagadu b'doratecha Adonai mloch lilam voed v'nehemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayomahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. This week, we will observe yard sites for Dora Schulman, Harry Turner, Isaac Varon, J. Hilliard Klein, Rabbi Cindy Culpepper, Ruben D. Franco, Julia Hannon, Miriam K. Schreiber, Morris Fast, Jacob Hassan, Leah Rosen, George H. Daniels, Enid Feldman, Florence Johnson, Ernest Gross, Annie Tepich Gruberg, Elias Kaiser, David M. Mussafer, Dora Schulwolf, Jean B. Taffet, and Lena Levine. Those observing yard site and those who mourn, please rise and join me, page 58, for the Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, v'yalma dibra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayichon v'yamechon, v'chayedechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'mahu amen, Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'lam olmel maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei d'kudishah barichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'yoma v'yimaru amen, Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. You may be seated. There we go. Thank you all for joining us for Kabbalat Shabbat. I appreciate all those that took the effort to come and join me in person, and I appreciate all of those that are online. We seem to be increasing the number of people joining us online, and I see we have a few new people. And you're welcome to join us any time you would like. And I know I speak for our membership chair, but if any of you would like to join our synagogue and are not members, you are more than welcome to contact me, and I will put you in touch with our membership chair. Even though you are sitting in your homes or wherever you are, it still requires a lot of effort and cost to bring this all to you. So any help that you can give us would be appreciated. Okay. Barbara's shaking her head, or nodding her head, so she agrees. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 for Shabbat services. Irene promises me that she will try to make it in the morning. And anyway, any of you that would like to join us on Friday night, I issue a challenge for us to get an actual minyan for no special event other than you decide to be here with me in person. So I would love to see that. Tomorrow night we'll be meeting with the Alabama Community Virtual Havdalah at 8 p.m. And that is via Zoom. If you would like to join us and you did not get the link, email me at ravmalki@gmail.com. That's ravmalki@gmail.com. And I'll get you the link before we start tomorrow. A week from tomorrow night, we will have both Toria and Miriam joining me for Havdalah here in our sanctuary. So anybody would like to join us, I think that would be really wonderful to be able to see and hear Dahlia Road in person. So, and by the way, they are going to be putting out their very first album soon. So, or whatever you call it nowadays. I don't know. It'll probably be, anyway, they're in Montgomery. They're in a recording studio. And I don't know exactly when that album will come out, but they will also be touring with the ISJL in the Southeast. So we are going to have them do a special concert for us here at Agudath Israel after their album comes out. We could do it before too, but it'd be fun after we can promote their album. In any event, thank you all again. Shabbat Shalom. And we will conclude our service with Adon Olam, page 211. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol leva ado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu oveh v'hu yiyeh b'tifara v'hu yiyeh b'tifara v'hu echad v'yein sheni l'am shelo lahachbira beli reshit beli tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzor chevli b'yetzara v'hu nisi u'manosli minat kosi b'yom mekra minat kosi b'yom mekra Biyado afkid ruchi biyet ishan v'yaira v'im ruchi geviyati Adonai li velo ira Adonai li velo ira Shabbat Shalom.